Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our Bosch Legacy Season 2, Episode 2 reaction and review. Hopefully, you guys are not watching this while being trapped in sand somewhere in the desert.
Oh my God. This episode was so good. This whole season so far, we are only two
Yeah.
episodes in, is straight fire, 10 out of 10. This episode was so intense. I'm going to have horrible nightmares tonight. I mean, like everything that could happen to Maddie Bosch happened to Maddie Bosch. You got her like handcuffed in a box,
Yeah.
buried underground. There's a camera on her. I'm like, oh my God, how much worse can this get? Then a scorpion drops down her breathe hole. Then her breathe hole is filling with sand. I was just like, oh my God, she's gonna die. Like
It,
they really raised the stakes on this in a way that I couldn't believe was happening. When that
yeah.
scorpion dropped on her, boop, I was like, oh no. Oh no. Watching it crawl on her neck, I could feel it myself. It was so intense.
Hot take, everybody. And I promise this is not me being like machismo and being like, look how tough I am, because I'm afraid of a lot of other things. I didn't mind a scorpion. I was just like, hey, cool, it's a scorpion who's just hanging out now.
Okay, listen, I'm not that afraid of scorpions. I'm from Canada, though. There's not a lot of scorpions going on up there. However, I'm trapped in a box and all I have is a tiny little breathe hole and scorpions are dropping down it and I can't get away, then it's dangerous.
I was afraid of everything else. Don't get me wrong. Like, this was a very intense episode. I think so far, season 2 is significantly better and stronger and more suspenseful than season 1. I think they've really kind of found what this iteration of Bosch is going to be, and that is really promising. I mean, granted, we have to see now what's going to happen now that, I guess, spoiler alert, if you're watching this video, Maddie Bosch is okay and out of there. I mean, what does the show look like now?
Yeah, and what's going to happen to, Doc, the city inspector?
Yeah.
He's lost his leverage. We're going to talk about all that good stuff, but before we do, join our Patreon.
Yeah.
We have a link for you in the description where every week we have live streams over there talking about Bosch. So, join that Patreon. It really helps us
Yeah.
here at the channel and we get to have live discussions with you guys all about Bosch.
Yeah, we're so excited to do that. We're excited for where this season is going to go. Like, okay, well, let's start with Maddie, because obviously this is the thing that like really got our blood pumping the most.
Yeah.
I'm really glad that this part of the cliffhanger is resolved at this point. It's not that I wasn't thoroughly entertained, because I was, but you can't have Maddie trapped somewhere for longer than a couple of episodes. It'll start to get a little bit melodramatic, and I think they built this up in a really, really good way, and they gave Bosch, most importantly, and Chandler, help from Chandler as well, but they gave them enough information that they would actually be able to find her, so it didn't feel completely unrealistic that they were able to pull a needle out of a haystack.
No, I was really glad that they packed it into this one episode the way they did, because they could have done it over two episodes where it's like, okay, maybe the scorpion doesn't drop until the next episode. Maybe her box doesn't start filling with sand till the next episode. But the fact that they did it all in one episode and it was just like, this, how can we make it worse? Drop a scorpion on her, also throw in some sand. Now she can't breathe. I was just, it was done in such a way, like so quickly, that it really did just like get my anxiety up that she was not going to get out of here. And one of the things that I really liked about it was that she never gave up in there. We saw her, kill that scorpion, get out of her handcuffs, very smartly pulling out the wire, and then getting out of the cuffs, killing the scorpion with the cuffs, using the cuffs again to like try to like etch into the wood like where she might be, things that she might remember, so that the camera can see it and they can get some clues. She never gave up. She just continued to be a Bosch
Yeah.
slash boss and get herself out of there the best that she can.
Yeah, she gets to say that, she's one of the reasons why she is ultimately found is because the stuff that she did. And
Yeah.
obviously she had plenty of help, from the outside, but it was a real collaborative effort, and it made it so much more tense, but it also made it so much more respective of who she is as a character. Because
Mhm.
even though, we don't see her like interacting with a lot of other people, and by all means, I can't imagine what it was like filming this, but we saw how determined she is. We saw how much like her father she is in a lot of different ways, how she's able to use context clues to be able to assist in her own rescue. And all of that was just really cool to see play out over time.
Yeah, and then we have everything that was going on with Doc and what, his motivation was for taking her. And it was kind of what I thought it was, which
Yeah.
is that he was going to use this as some sort of leverage to just get away with all of it. That's like, hey, you want Maddie Bosch? I will help you with that. But before that, I need a complete immunity deal for all this other stuff I did, and including taking a cop and doing this to her. I need, this magical deal that just wipes it all away, and I will give her back to you. And it was, such a ridiculous thing to ask for that, even the cops were like, okay, so then every criminal is just gonna nab a cop and throw them underground and basically
Yeah.
be like, I'll trade you my freedom for this cop. Like, they can't set that precedent.
No, and Doc to me is the weakest part of this arc right now, mostly just because, and I alluded to this a little bit in our review of the premiere. It's just he's not a charismatic enough adversary for any of this to feel like there's any chance whatsoever that he's going to get what he's asking for. I mean, any police force should just be like, no, for the very reason that you spelled out. But he doesn't strike me as intimidating or persuasive enough to even kind of come close to getting any of these sort of demands met.
Yeah, it's just for me, I didn't get enough background of him. Like, we got a little bit here with the lawyer that he hired, and that, he was in the system for a while, but before that his mother was like part of this weird commune that had a bunch of really bad stuff happen, and
Yeah.
then he got put in the system, and then he's here. But it's just like, for him to be as intense as he is, for it to just be sort of written in as like kind of a throwaway line here, a couple lines, this is why this is happening. It's just like, it would have been nice to have a little more of an episode where we actually kind of got to know him a little bit better,
Yeah.
so that when we do get to that confrontation with Bosch, where he gets into the room with him, he's got the pen to his eye. Oh
Yeah.
my God, it's so intense. This whole
Yeah.
episode is so intense, that we really sort of see where both of these characters are coming from, whether we agree with Doc or not.
Yeah. Titus in that scene, man, Titus been killing it this season, but
Titus is killing it all season. I mean, he's so intense in this, and I mean, and it completely makes
Yeah.
sense with what's going on, but it's just, yeah, that scene was crazy. I was just like, do it right in the eye. I know Edgar's there being like, you don't want to do this. And
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, he does want to do it. And then he's like, I really want to do this. I'm like, yeah, of course you want to do this.
Yeah, it all of it was believable for Bosch. Like, it all made sense. Of course he's gonna feel that way. Of course, Edgar's gonna be there to try to keep him from going over the edge. I mean, once again, really great to have Jerry Edgar. Couple of episodes here. We kind of Bosch needs some sort of foil in a situation like this, and while Chandler can provide some of it, it's also Edgar's just got that police experience. He's got that similar sort of background where they've worked together for a long period of time, and
Yes.
he obviously understands what Maddie means to him, and he wants as much as Bosch does to find her. It's just there is a procedure, there is a way to make sure this happens that will also not lead to Bosch being in prison at the end of this.
Yeah, and Edgar really helped out in this sort of, going in there, talking to Doc, where Doc's like, oh, are you the good cop? No, I'm just here, whatever. But he definitely got some information that helped all of this come together in a way where we did see Bosch and Honey Chandler out in the desert at the same place that everything happened to Doc when he was a kid with his mother, and that he's gone back to this place, and this is where Maddie is.
Yeah, and it all connected, at least in a way that once again made enough sense. The desert setting was cool. It was different. It felt like, we have both played Borderlands video games. It felt like a level in Borderlands where you would be like ducking around a corner and then somebody would be running at you with a chainsaw or something like that.
Yeah, it absolutely did feel like that.
It was a really cool setting. They set that up. They played that out really, really well. Now, like the biggest question for me coming out of all this is that it's already been established that physically Maddie is going to be okay. Like they even specified that in the
Mhm.
episode, but mentally, how do you recover from something like this where you're on death's door for a pretty long period of time and you don't know if you're going to be rescued and you're still really young and you're new to this career in the force? Like, how do you carry this with you?
Yeah, I mentioned this in the premiere, and again, we're still looking at that question. Is this going to be something that she struggles with where she decides she does not want to be a cop anymore? Or is she going to struggle with it, but she's still going to keep pushing forward? That this is going to be like, this cements it.
Yeah.
I absolutely need to be in this career to stop people like this because, now that I've been on this other side of it where I've been, quote, the victim,
Yeah.
where, I'm underground, scorpion, sand, all these
Yeah.
things that this guy is doing. I feel even more motivated to get out there to make a difference, to stop people like this. Because if it wasn't for some of Maddie's police work, he may have still been out there doing it to other people who may have died.
Okay, here is my fear with a lot of this. And I'm not trying to generalize Maddie Bosch. It's just generally when we see characters who are cops who are in this sort of position on TV, you go through something really, really dark, that trauma can stay with you.
Yeah.
And instead of letting people in, you sort of develop this persona of I'm tough. It's fine. I'm going to keep going about the business, and you don't talk about it and you don't find any sort of way to get past it. And because Maddie is going to be surrounded by, at least at work, by a lot of quote unquote tough people, is she just going to act like she is okay? And in doing that, like she's putting herself in so much more danger coming later on down the road because you don't know when this sort of stuff that you're holding on to is going to resurface.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how much of it she holds in. We haven't watched any of the previews or anything going
Yeah.
forward. So, I mean, yeah, we don't know what's coming up if she is going to be really dealing with this. But I think that the very least she has her dad. And as
Yeah.
tough as Harry is, he is soft with her in his heart. And they
Yeah.
have had lots of conversations over the years. They're very, very open with each other. There could be something there for her that, he really is her rock. She does go to him with a lot of stuff, and he is the one that found her. There's a lot of trust there. So I do think that she will, at the very least, be able to talk to her dad when she's ready to do it.
I really hope so. I really hope that we're building towards the two of them being able to lean on each other even more. And in general, these two episodes, I mean, they're really well made, but they're also really focused. And I feel like that benefited the show a lot than rather than have like all these different sort of side stories going out this way, that way. And, maybe we'll get that way moving a little bit further into the season.
Yeah.
But this was just a really effective sort of reintroduction to the Bosch world after, the show was on break in between seasons for a while. And it's
Mhm.
just, we're not going to go too crazy right away with a lot of different stuff. This is the
Yeah.
problem that needs to be solved.
Yeah, and my other thing that I'm looking forward to seeing going forward with this is how Harry's going to really be dealing with
Yeah.
this. Because watching him in episode 1 and episode 2, getting the call from the morgue, having to go down there, possibly face his daughter, dead, that how is he then going to be going forward with this? Is he going to be not wanting her to be part of the force? Is he going to be
Yeah.
stepping in as dad to be like, you know what? No. Or is he going to have to be like, listen, I understand because, you were on the receiving end of maybe getting those phone calls
Yeah.
about me because I was part of this and now you're part of this and now I understand what you had to have gone through.
Okay, a couple of pieces of advice here for Harry Bosch, since I know you are a avid watcher of the Mad and Jess TV YouTube channel. So, number one, have some hugs. You need some hugs in your life, Harry Bosch, after all of this. Number two, stay open. Don't tune people out. Not just Maddie, Edgar, other people who you're close to, who you can talk things over with. I think it will give you the sense of perspective that you need. But because you are very go, 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 it's a part of your job, I once again worry that you're not going to do that.
I think he will. I mean, Harry has a really good support system. I know him and, Honey Chandler aren't always see eye to eye, but I think this will be a thing that will have brought them closer because she was with him trying to help him when they found Maddie. He does have Edgar. They have a really good relationship. It's just I think he's got enough of a support system that he's going to be able to give that to Maddie to help her out of this.
Well, we will see exactly where the rest of season two goes. But as you said it at the start, really fire start to this season. Like, how were we not entertained by what we've gotten through these first couple of episodes?
Oh, for sure. This season, I really liked season one, but
Yeah.
this season is on another level.
Yeah, they have really evolved, and we'll see where they go from here. But as Jess said earlier, join our Patreon. Check out that link in the description. We have live streams every week talking about Bosch Legacy. Thank you so much to our patrons who are supporting us.
Thank you.
We will see you here next time.